Okay, we're going back a few years here. Guy named Harry Schwartz and his friend are sitting on a couch one day watching a basketball game. They're watching Michael Jordan play basketball, and Michael Jordan fakes this guy out of his shoes and scores the winning basket. Harry Schwartz says, yeah. He says, I told Michael, I said, you fake to the right, go around him to the left, score the basket, it'll work every time. His buddy says, wait a minute, you know Michael Jordan? Well, Harry Schwartz says, yeah, man. He goes, I know everybody. His buddy says, I don't know if I believe that now, come on. He says, okay, let's go. They get in the car, drive up to Chicago. They go to the building that the Chicago Bulls are having a practice in. And from the far end of the court, over in the corner, they hear a voice yell, yo, Harry Schwartz. Guy comes running out, and who is it? Lo and behold, it's Michael Jordan. He says, Harry, I appreciate that tip you gave me the other day. He says, I've been using it, scoring a lot of points. I really thank you, man. He says, I got to get back to practice. I'll call you later. Harry says, no problem, Michael. Talk to you later. Well, at this point, Harry Schwartz's buddy's looking at him with his mouth open. He says, wow, you know Michael Jordan. He says, I told you, man. I know everybody. Well, about a week later, they're in Harry Schwartz's living room watching television again. Bill Clinton comes on television. And Bill Clinton says, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Harry Schwartz looks at his buddy and goes, you know, I told him a couple weeks ago. I said, Bill, you got to stop fooling around with these women. You're going to get impeached. Look what happened to him. Well, at this point, Harry's buddy looks at him and goes, now, wait a minute. You telling me you know the President of the United States, Bill Clinton? Harry Schwartz says, man, I'm telling you, I know everybody. His buddy says, I don't know if I believe that. He says, come on, let's go. They go to the airport, get an airplane, fly up to Washington, D.C., take the front steps into the White House. As they're walking into the White House, they hear a voice coming from the far end down the hallway. Harry! Yo, Harry Schwartz! Guy comes running down the hall, and who is it? Lo and behold, Bill Clinton, the President of the United States. He looks at Harry Schwartz and he says, Harry, my friend, he said, you were right. He said, I'm going to have to stay away from these women. They're fixing to impeach me. He says, I told you, Bill. Told you. He says, okay, Harry. He says, I'm going to start doing what you tell me from now on. He says, see you later, pal. I'll be calling you. He walks away. Well, Harry's buddy's standing there with his mouth wide open. He says, man, he goes, I don't believe it. You know the President of the United States. Harry Schwartz looks at his buddy and says, look, man, he says, I told you. I know everybody. All right, 2 weeks later, they're watching the Pope on television. And Harry says to his buddy, he says, you know, I told the Pope not long ago, you're going to have to start making more TV appearances so people can get to know you, they see you, they start liking you, you get more people to follow you. Well, with that, Harry's buddy says, look, he says, you know Michael Jordan, I'll give you that. And yes, I was wrong. You know the President of the United States. But there's no way in hell that you know the Pope. Harry Schwartz looks at him, he says, look, pal, he says, I told you, I know everybody. You don't believe me? Let's go. They go to the airport, get in an airplane, and fly over to the Vatican. Sure enough, they're standing outside the Vatican. Harry Schwartz says, now I'm telling you, I know everybody. Now Harry points to the side of the Vatican and says to his buddy, you see that balcony up there? In a couple minutes, the Pope's going to come out here to give everybody the blessing, and I'm going to come out with him. I'm going to be standing right next to him on the balcony. His buddy says, look, man, there's no way. Harry says, excuse me, I told you I know everybody. I'm going to be there. With that, Harry disappears, walks in the Vatican, and don't see anyone. A couple minutes later, the Pope comes out, starts giving the blessing. Who is standing next to the Pope? Yep, you guessed it. Lo and behold, Harry Schwartz standing next to the Pope while he gives the blessing. His friend standing down on the ground looks up there in total disbelief. He cannot believe his eyes. He looks at the guy next to him and he says, hey, pal, he says, do you know who that is up there on the balcony? The guy looks up and he goes, Well, I don't know who the guy with the funny looking hat on is, but the guy standing next to him is Harry Schwartz.